Hello and welcome to the Epic Marketing Show. Today we're going to be talking about engagement marketing. We're going to cover what that is and its different components and how you can get a sneak peek into something that's coming along very shortly. Very exciting. So make sure you've got a cup of tea. Today I have not only a delicious mango and lychee green tea, but in this awesome cup sent to me by Kevin and Vicky from Prime Entry. How exciting to be getting cow stuff, my favorite. So make sure you've got a cup of tea and let's get cracking. So engagement marketing, what is it? Well, as the title suggests, it's all about engaging this here, your customer. So engagement marketing is not like behavioral marketing, and it's not like our concept of epic marketing, in that it's not a way of marketing, it's actually a strategy. So the strategy itself is all about how you can best engage your customer and how engaging your customer leads to pretty awesome results in your business. So let's talk about the components of engagement marketing. So first and foremost, we have understanding your customer. Now, I talk a lot about understanding your customer, and it's not just about understanding the demographics of your customer, but it's also about understanding the psychographics. So it's all of that kind of psychological information that goes into the background of what makes them do what they do, why they do what they do, and why they'll be interested in what you're up to. And so when we talk about understanding your customer in terms of engagement marketing, it's not just about being really clear on who your avatar is, so your customer avatar. And a little plug here for our avatar course. I'll drop a link below in the descriptions and you can have a look at that. It's not just about understanding your avatar, but it's also about understanding how your why as a company is going to impact that person. Because engagement marketing is about creating a relationship with them on a much deeper level. And what we want is for there to be kind of this positive feedback loop with your why, exactly why you're doing what you're doing, and why they want to work with you. It's not just about your products, it's about your mission and your vision and where you want to go in the future. And engagement marketing is about connecting at a much deeper level with that customer because of that. So the second component of engagement marketing is your customer journey. Now, there's lots that goes into a customer journey. For instance, there's lifecycle marketing. And you can check out our other video on lifecycle marketing if you want an overview of that. So lifecycle marketing is kind of building out the steps of your customer journey. But you also need to have some information that you are sending out on a repeated basis to engage your prospects. So the entire customer journey should be designed to get that engagement, to get them to kind of be clicking through, to get them to be opening dialogue with you, even if it's just through their actions. Okay, so the first thing you want to have is what we call a long-term nurture sequence. And this is really where the magic is in engagement marketing. So a long-term nurture sequence is something that you might send out at least bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks, or once a week, and some people even send a daily email out. It's pure value-add content. And so you send out this value-add content and you get people to click through and show what they're interested in. And here's where the engagement section really comes in. Because they're engaging with certain bits of content, we now know what they're interested in. So the important thing is that when their interest triggers a certain threshold, that we start selling them the products that are relevant to what they're interested in. So you don't just have to sell here. You can also be sending them series of additional nurturing information that may help them with that specific problem. So to explain this a little bit further, you want to be sending out an email that has links. You want to be tracking those link clicks. And we know that based on the topic that you have linked through in that email, that somebody is interested in something specific or they have a certain type of problem. Based on that certain type of problem, you then want to be sending them information, either more information on that problem, or you can add them into very specific sales sequences. That's the key to engagement marketing. And that is why long-term nurture is so important, because the life cycle marketing strategy that you're going to be using for your customer journey is all about the certain steps that they would go through, from understanding who they are, to engaging them, to selling things to them, to fulfilling on that, and to keeping a really happy and wowed customer. The long-term nurture runs alongside that as part of your inbound content strategy. Okay, so the thing that we most often recommend businesses do is create an inbound content plan. So that is putting information on your site, generally in the form of blog posts, but you can also put it up in videos and that sort of thing. And basically sending that information out on a repeated basis as you create that content. And as people are engaging with information, they're letting you know what they're interested in. And as they're letting you know what you're interested in, at that point you can step up and go, I have something that may help you. So you're never pushing things unduly wanted, and you're never pushing things that people aren't going to want, because they're showing you with their behavior exactly what they want. So while you've got your customer journey planned out and you're very sure on your lifecycle marketing stages and you have all of that planned out, we're very sure on your kind of backbone of everything, which is your long-term nurture, and you're tracking all of that engagement, and then you're using your content plan to inform you about what people are interested in. You're helping people make really informed decisions, and you're helping them be what we call an enlightened consumer. So based on all of that, the third part of the journey is really behavior. So although in the second part we're kind of tracking everything and we're keeping an eye on stuff and we're being really targeted and really strategic with our content, being really strategic with our long-term nurture content, and very strategic with what we're doing with our lifecycle marketing strategy, what we now need to understand is what behavior denotes, a certain trigger that we can start selling to them. So while you've got your customer journey clearly defined and you've got your lifecycle marketing steps, you've got your long-term nurture in place as the backbone of what you're doing, and you've also got your content plan strategically informing you and tracking what they're up to, we now need to really understand their behavior. So this is really informed in part by your avatar, because you'll have specific psychographics that you're looking out for, but behavior goes further. It's what they're clicking on, it's what they're engaging with in their communications. But it's also the heuristics. So for instance, just quickly, heuristics are mental shortcuts that people make. It's a simple way that the brain saves on time by making a very quick decision. So we need to be really conscious of exactly what heuristics our audience are going to be using. What are those mental shortcuts? And we need to be really clear on that. Once we're clear on their behavior, and you're informed by your avatar and how they're going to be interacting with your content, you know that they're behaving in certain ways, you close the loop for the behavioral marketing. And so what you start to see now is you start to go, okay, I'm really clear on who my customer is. I'm tracking all of their behavior. You can now sit down and go, okay, with this behavior we can see what the patterns are, we can see where we need to be going, we can see what people are engaging with, and you use that to continually inform and improve on your avatar. So it's a continual cycle of improvement, and we call that Kaizen, which is a lovely Japanese term for the continual cycle of improvement. You're allowing your customer journey to inform the content that you're creating, the engagement with the content and all the things that you're sending out, to inform on how you can help direct behavior. And from directing the behavior, you can then see what are your best customers and continue to improve on that avatar process. So as long as you continue going through that cycle, engagement marketing is always going to get you higher profits, higher ROI, better customers, and less time wasted, because the people you're talking to are the people who are enlightened, they're interested in what you've got, and they're really segmented based on their own behavior, not just what we're deciding to send to them that week. So to really understand exactly what engagement marketing is, first we need to take a step back and have a look at the traditional forms of marketing. So I'm going to draw you a little funnel of how things are traditionally done, specifically in the marketing world. So what we normally start with when we're creating a typical marketing funnel, of course we don't do this ourselves, but typical marketers will do this, is you start with some form of advertising spend. You start with an advert and you would drive your audience to a sign up form, and you would say to them, sign up for this thing. This could be a lead magnet, but it could also be a low price product. Okay? So you drive people with a bit of advertising spend in either Facebook, Twitter, on Google AdWords, whatever that advertising spend may be, you drive them to a sign up form option. It could even just be a contact us form. But you drive them somewhere very specific and you collect that lead's information. Based on that lead's information, you then add them into a series of emails or some form of sales process with a sales dude. And at the end of this process, what you want them to do is you want them to purchase something. And that is a very typical marketing sales funnel. So you're starting with advertising spend, driving them to somewhere really specific. You're then sending them an email series which sells them something very specific, or you're putting them straight in touch with a sales guy and you're getting the sale at the end. Now, what we're starting to see is, quite frankly, this process isn't working so hot anymore. Whereas 5 years ago, you could expect relatively high conversion rates and you knew you could get a very healthy return on investment from your advertising spend, that's just not happening. In part, that's because people are ignoring adverts, but also it's because it's interruption marketing. And you're trying to interrupt people's day-to-day process and what they're doing to get your product across. The psychological impact of this journey is that you want something from them. You want to sell them something specific and they know that. So the second they click through to one of those adverts, they've got their guard up and they're only going to go as far as they feel comfortable going before they shut you down. It's a numbers game. You know that if you spend X amount of money, you can get X amount of people signing up there. And if X amount of people sign up there, you're going to get X percentage of that convert. So if you've got the revenue and the funds to throw at it, you can do so. It just doesn't work for everybody, and it's working less and less as time is going on. So let's talk about the engagement marketing way of doing things. This is what we see working. So instead of focusing on spending ad revenue right in the beginning, what you do instead is create really, really good content. Now, if you're an inbound content creator, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But we're talking about blog posts, maybe a video every now and then, or possibly even a podcast. That's supposed to be a microphone. So you've got your blog content, you might have some videos, you may have several different pieces of content on the same thing. But what you're focusing on here is search. You're focusing on the moment that somebody is actually looking for some specific information and you're providing them that information. So you're making sure that your information is searchable and that people can find out exactly what you want. And when someone engages with this content, you can then go, okay, they're interested with that. In things like Google Analytics, you can set up how many pages or how many pieces of content someone has viewed, and you can also start doing a little bit of retargeting. And that, in this example, is where the ad spend comes in. So once they reach a certain threshold, you can start retargeting them. And at that point, you know that they're interested because they've already visited your content. They may have stayed for X amount of time or visited X amount of pages or viewed so many videos, and you can start retargeting on a totally different level. Once you've got to a specific point, you can then go, okay, I have more information for you. Let's continue this relationship in a slightly different way on a slightly different platform. They will do that once they're ready, but you know from how they're engaging that they're really interested. This is shooting in the dark. This is being really, really targeted with the people that you are creating content for. At that point in time, you can add them into an email series. But the really important thing about this email series is not that it sells them something at the end. When they're ready, you can offer them the product. The important thing here is the psychological relationship that you are building with your prospect. In this relationship, they're thinking they want something from me and they're coming in with their guard up. Here, you're coming in from a totally different positioning. Here, you're coming from a position of, I'm providing good, valuable information, I am to be trusted, and I am an authority in what I am talking about. Psychologically, they are much more likely to buy from this approach. The important thing here is, this one isn't working. This old school thinking is not so hot anymore. The engagement marketing approach is to engage with them, and this leads to higher conversion rates, higher return on investment, and better customers in the long term. So if you're clever, you may also include some additional points where you use what might have been your old advertising spend. Bear in mind, you are going to have to spend a little bit of money here in creating actual content, but you might, based on the content that people are engaging with, do a little bit of retargeting. And that just means that you've already earned the right to be talking to them because you're providing them with huge amounts of value and they're building a relationship with you. They're not going to be unhappy to see your adverts because you're not interrupting what they're doing. After all of that, you want to be adding them into what we call a long-term nurture. And in that long-term nurture, you're going to be sending them valuable content on a repeated basis. And that valuable content is going to engage them back into the process again. And that is the basics of engagement marketing and how it is different to the traditional ways of marketing. So now that we have those basics in place, we're now going to look at how engagement marketing can be used as part of your customer lifecycle. So in the beginning of the video, I hinted to a little treat that I have in store for you. I'm currently actually writing the book on engagement marketing. I would love to give you a sneak preview of that as soon as the first chapter is ready, because I think this is something that will revolutionize the way that we do marketing. So if you'd like to get in on that sneak preview, hit the button below this video in the description and I will get you on the waiting list for that and you'll be the first to have it. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, and if you haven't done so yet, subscribe. Also, make sure you check out the waiting list for that book. Until next time, go forth and be epic.